Hey folks, so in this video I want to address a question that gets asked a lot, whether it's in the Chess Dojo Discord or on Twitch or on Reddit or on YouTube, and basically it's how do I create a training plan? What should I work on? And in this video, I just want to give you guys my thoughts on the topic. I'm going to try to make things as broad as possible, so regardless of what level that you're at, you can kind of use this advice and form your own training plan. I think the bigger difference is that not everyone has the same amount of time, and I want to give you guys something that you can use whether you have an hour a day for chess or several hours per day or anywhere in between. So just to give you guys a basic breakdown, I think any good training plan is going to have three elements. Basically, an element of playing, you have to play games and practice your skills. An element of learning, you have to learn new ideas, whether it comes from a book, a course, or video series, anything like that. And you have to train, you have to solve exercises and work on your calculation skill. Unless your rating is like above 2600, I'm going to guess that you probably have somewhere to go when it comes to your tactics, your visualization, and your calculation. So let's break these elements down one by one. Playing is one of the most important things you could be doing when it comes to your chess. You need to play games, gain experience, make mistakes, and then learn from your mistakes. Analyzing your games is what almost every coach will tell you is one of the most important things in terms of actually making progress. Now, how often you play, I think, is not super important. I think playing once a week is nice, even if it's just a couple of rapid games. If you're only going to play once every 2 or 3 weeks, I would strongly suggest playing a classical, longer time control game. And in general, I think the longer time control games you play, the more effective they will be for your actual chess improvement. Playing Blitz is a lot of fun, but my feeling on Blitz is that it only tests your instincts in chess, and during a Blitz game, you simply don't have time to consider ideas that aren't in your immediate awareness. So you're always just going to be playing your kind of first instinct moves, and you're not given any time to reflect on your ideas and actually grow during the game. Now, Blitz might be useful if you're actually going and then analyzing your games afterwards, but if you're a classical time control player or you're a tournament player, my suggestion for you would be to play longer time control games. Treat those training games as seriously as you can. Obviously, it's a different experience playing online versus playing in person. It's harder to focus, I would say, but just do the best you can. Leave your phone in the other room, make sure you have no other tabs or music playing, and just try to focus on the training game at hand. If you can do this consistently and analyze the games afterwards, you can really learn a lot about the game and you can really improve a lot just by doing that alone. Now, if you want to take things to the next level, then you're going to want to actually learn some chess and introduce some new ideas into your game. And this can be done from tons and tons of different books, whether it's on the middle game or a game collection of a particular player, studying the end game. You can even study new openings, study specific structures and typical ideas in those structures. There's a million different ways you can go with this. My main suggestion for you guys would be to choose a topic that you're interested in and try to stick to it consistently. If there's a video course you've been meaning to watch 30 to 45 minutes every day, or maybe 2 times per day until you finish it. If there's a book that looks really interesting to you, read 5 pages every day until you finish it. Choose one project and kind of focus in on it. Make sure that that's going to be your main aim for the next couple of weeks until you either finish it or you realize maybe it's not what you're interested in and you want to move on to something else. I think the problem a lot of players run into is that they bounce around too much. One week they're working on their calculation, the next week they're looking at their end games, the next week they're learning a new opening. And if you do this week by week and bounce around way too much, I don't think you're going to be making as much progress as if you just chose something from the very beginning, focused on it for 3-4 weeks at a time, and then maybe moved on to something else as your focus after that. And finally, we have the third element that I would consider critical to any good training plan, and that is the solving aspect. You need to train your calculation skill and you need to solve problems. And again, if your rating is not super high, you probably could stand to improve your calculation. Now, there are many different ways to do this. I try to always make a distinction between working on simple tactics and tactical patterns, which you could do with a million different apps or on any kind of tactics trainer. And there's a difference between that and working on your deeper calculation. Maybe for stronger players, if you have to find a full combination or you have to take into account your opponent's resources, then for this you're going to need somewhat more difficult exercises than you would get from a simple tactics app. Whatever it may be, I think the most important thing when it comes to working on your calculation is to kind of set out and make that your number one goal. Meaning when you work on chess next, you're going to be trying to improve your calculation. Now, you can also work on your calculation while you're playing your game. You can always try to push yourself to try to calculate more than you normally do, and then analyzing your analysis after the game with a computer, trying to check yourself whether you calculated correctly, whether you missed some ideas. Of course you did, and then trying to learn from them. In addition to this, of course, it's very useful to follow some kind of calculation program, whether it's, even if it's just doing 30 to 40 minutes every day of chess.com tactics trainer, Lee Chess tactics trainer, something like that, but doing it consistently over time. That is, of course, going to improve your tactical vision. There are also tons of great books out there specifically based on calculation, or simply puzzle books that have a lot of good exercises. Woodpecker method is a good example of one for more advanced players that you can use to really just work on your skills. But again, the main thing is to choose this as your aim. If you feel like calculation is not necessarily your weakness right now and you don't think you have to focus on it, then focus on the learning side of things. Try to incorporate new ideas into your game, pick up a new opening, try to learn some new middle games, work on the end game. There are many things you can do while, let's say, keeping calculation on the back burn, but I would still suggest doing 20 to 30 minutes of tactics every day, especially to warm up, or if you're going to be playing a training game. I think just having that constant tactical training is never going to be bad for your chess. It might not always improve your chess if you're not super focused on it, but doing a little bit of tactics every day, I think, will always keep you sharp and it will help with retaining more ideas in the long run. So let's sum up. I think a good training plan consists of some aspects of playing, learning, and solving. You should be trying to play every week or at least every 2 weeks. The longer the time control, the better. I would suggest at least G30 or G45 if you're a classical player and trying to improve your tournament chess. And you want to, of course, be analyzing these games, learning from your mistakes. This is where real chess growth is actually going to happen. Number 2, you want to be learning something, learning some new ideas. Most players do best with either with chess books or specific courses, but now there's obviously tons and tons of content out there, tons of sites, tons of great videos on YouTube, good series that you can follow. So there's really no limit to all of the content out there. The main thing, like I would stress, is just to choose one project that you think you really need to work on, whether it's studying the games of Karpov or learning how to play IQP positions, and focusing on that for several weeks at a time, 5 pages per day, 30 minutes of video per day until you finish that project. And finally, we have solving. If you really want to improve your play, at some point, you're going to have to work on your calculation. I would suggest making that a focus if you think that's something you need to work on, and dedicating 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour to it every single day consistently, 3-4 weeks at a time, working on one book, one course, working all the way through it, or at least as far as you can. And over the course of this time, I think you will definitely feel like your calculation is potentially getting stronger. Even after 3-4 weeks, as long as the practice is dedicated, I think you will see improvement. Especially if you're also playing training games during that time and integrating what you're doing, trying to calculate more during the games, and then actually analyzing your calculations afterwards and trying to learn from your mistakes, both on the board and in your analysis that you are generating during the game. All right, guys, hopefully that makes sense to you. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. And if you would like me to evaluate your personal training plan, leave a comment with what you're doing and for how long, and I'll give you my honest take on it, whether the plan is good or whether it can be improved. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It really helps us out a lot, and I'll catch you guys next time. Take care.